A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Lunchtime News here on Newsfirst Tv1. I am Shine Jurampati. Let's start off with a look at your headlines. Unannounced railway strike action causes major disruption to passengers. 2 people shot and killed in Siambalawewa Reserve in Karuwalagaswewa. Taiwan's Far Eastern International Bank representatives arrive in Sri Lanka over alleged money laundering case. Violence erupts in Kenya over new election law. In your lead story this afternoon, the strike action launched by railway drivers and guards last night is still in effect. The railway control room said many of the scheduled train rounds had to be cancelled this morning.
Well, it's close to 12 noon, and usually on a Thursday afternoon or at any day, this is the busiest railway station in central Colombo. But today it's not the case. The engine drivers have stepped down from their duty activities and none of the trains are operating today island-wide. Commuters have been stranded, and whether or not the strike will continue is in the hands of the authorities and in the hands of the engine drivers.
Sri Lanka Railways operates around 360 train rounds on a daily basis. This has been reduced to around 10 due to the ongoing strike action. Secretary to the Ministry of Transport P.S. Vithanage noted that a discussion will be held today with the trade unions engaged in the strike. The Railways Department has issued an order for all retired railway operators who are serving on a contract basis to report to work. Superintendent of Railways S.M. Abe Vikrama notes that these employees have been ordered to report to work by this afternoon. The strike action has been launched in connection to irregularities in the recruitment criteria for railway driver assistants. Commuters were inconvenienced this morning due to office trains not operating this morning. Newsfirst travelled to several railway stations around the country today. This is how the usually bustling Polgahawala railway station looked this morning. The Kandy railway station was also devoid of most commuters today. Commuters were highly inconvenienced at the Galle railway station this morning. This was the situation at the Mathura railway station. Newsfirst cameras captured this footage from the Fort railway station this morning. Meanwhile, a tense situation was reported last evening at the Fort railway station when the strike action was launched. Also making headlines, 2 people have been reported dead following a shooting in Siambalawewa Reserve in Karuwalagaswewa, Puttlam. According to the police, the shooting took place at 1 a.m. when the victims were cutting down trees. Both victims passed away after being admitted to the Puttlam hospital. They have been identified as residents of Karuwalagaswewa and Siambalawewa, aged 18 and 31 years respectively. Police suspect the shooting was carried out by poachers. The suspects were yet to be identified, and the Karuwalagaswewa police has launched an investigation to arrest the suspects. 2 Taiwanese police officers and an official from Taiwan's Far Eastern International Bank arrived in Sri Lanka last night to assist in investigations over a $2.1 million fraud from its bank. Police media spokesperson SP Ruan Gunasekara said the Taiwanese officials are scheduled to meet with officers of the Criminal Investigations Department today and commence the investigation. SP Gunasekara said a statement will be recorded from the Far Eastern International Bank official today. Taiwanese authorities began investigating last week a hack of the Far Eastern International Bank through which $60 billion worth of funds was transferred to bank accounts in several countries including Sri Lanka. Shalila Munasinghe, the former chairman of a state-owned enterprise, and Janaka Nammuni were arrested over the incident and were further remanded yesterday until the 25th of this month. The examination of evidence in connection to the case filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption against MP Rohita Begunawardena is set to take place on the 24th of this month before the Colombo High Court. Charges have been filed in connection to MP Rohita Abegunawardana's wealth of 41.2 million rupees in cash and property, which could not have been accumulated through his salary and other incomes during a period of 2 years and 3 months. The examination of evidence in connection to the case was due to be held today before the Colombo High Court. Counsel appearing on behalf of the respondent informed court that he will not be able to appear before court due to a personal reason, and thereby the justice ordered that the examination of evidence be taken up on a later date. Still in local news, United Nations Special Rapporteur on the Promotion of Truth, Justice, Reparation and Guarantees of Non-Recurrence, Pablo de Grief, called on the governor of the Eastern Province yesterday.
The meeting was held at the Secretariat of the Governor of the Eastern Province. Attention had been drawn towards problems faced by communities living in the Eastern Province. The final report that will be compiled by the UN Special Rapporteur on his visit will be presented before the UN Human Rights Council in September next year.
The Rapporteur was particularly keen to find out how we are bringing about the issues relating to the community related resettlements. Then in terms of the legacies the community may be still entertaining or being part of it, including the traumatic experiences the children may have had, and also regarding the widowers and the victim families in the province.
The Sri Lanka State of the Economy 2017 report was launched in Colombo recently under the auspices of Deputy Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva.
The report compiled by the Institute of Policy Studies was unveiled at the event yesterday. A distinguished gathering including the Acting Executive Director of IPS, Dr. Dushni Veerakun, was also present at the occasion.
The economy cannot stand on its own. It is interconnected to the way in which the government is run, democracy is practiced, how we engage with the world, and most of all, building peace in this nation. If radicals are going to stop the main artery in the city of Colombo to say no to private education, then tell me how. Please, we are going to meet our objectives. Tell me how we are going to get out of the pessimistic, dim outlook to a more optimistic, brighter outlook. Some people blame the government for corruption today. But at the same time, I must tell that not that corruption didn't exist. It was never exposed. There was no mechanism. There was no platform for corruption to be exposed, and not only be exposed, to be prosecuted people in the way they have been and are being, as we see on a daily basis.
Policy document Vision 2025, as well as the first policy statement of the Prime Minister, there was a target of changing the tax structure from indirect to direct. Presently it is at 80 to 20, and that is to be reduced to 60 to 40. When you increase the income tax, each one of us has to pay more taxes. So when the tax reforms are introduced, the challenge is we have to sell it to the people. So the present government has to now take this up with the people. They have to sign a kind of a people's charter with the people, saying that we will get you to pay more taxes, but at the same time we will deliver you better public services. And I can recall Dr. Goh Ken Swee, the first finance minister of Singapore. In 1965 he elaborated this strategy in Parliament, Singaporean Parliament, when he said, if you want better public services, you must be prepared to pay for that. And there is no such thing as a free lunch. So what we have to tell our people today is also that there is no such thing as a free lunch. If there is a free lunch, invariably we ourselves would be financing that free lunch.
An MOU was signed yesterday between the Ministry of Health and an Austrian organization in order to develop state hospitals in the country.
Can we have a round of applause, please, at this moment?
Development activities will take place with the assistance of the Austrian government through a loan to the tune of over 9.5 million euros. This is a low-interest loan scheme. If we look at the value in rupees, it comes up to 1,742 billion. We will be using these funds to renovate and modernize our operation theatres and emergency treatment units. Agreements have been signed in the past with foreign companies. We have signed about 22 such agreements which bring in foreign assistance. We have around 70 agreements that need to be signed as well. And that is your lunchtime news bulletin. Thank you very much for watching. Do join us again for our next news update coming your way at 1:55. I'm Shanjay Rampati. Have a pleasant day ahead of you.